Hi, everybody. Welcome. It's Monday. It's good to see you all. Hi, Joel.
Hey Mia, how you doing?
I am doing great. We're back in the saddle again this week, and there's a sense of urgency going on.
Yes, there
I got that
is.
email. I got nervous. I brought my notepad. I am ready to roll with you on this. So let's start off, though, with a little bit of housekeeping. In case you don't know where you are in the Jagoot Village, where we teach you how to travel in business and first class at economy rates. I like saying better, more often, at a lower cost. It's like the $6 million man, Joel. Better, stronger, faster. You are old enough to know what I'm
We both
talking
just
about.
dated ourselves.
We truly, truly did. That's how old we are. If you are tuning in, please say hello. Tell us where you are and actually where you want to travel to. That's always fun to do. We can pull up your comments. And don't forget that any of your comments count as a point into the Win a Fun Travel Savings Card contest we have at the end, right, Joel?
Yes,
Come
we
on, Joel
have.
Merrill. You have the
I
card. I know
don't get
you
to
do.
show it.
All right, forget it. You
It
know
fell
what?
on the
Use your
floor, but
imagination. It's amazing.
it's
And
$100 travel savings card,
yes.
good for hotels, for lodging, for car rentals, for excursions, whatever you like.
I dig it. I don't see any comments coming up yet, but if you could just go ahead and comment, and that way we'll know there we go. Robert's just popped up right away. Thank you, Robert. Hello from Northern California. He wants to go to Mexico.
We're going to
You
be talking about
bet.
a lot of fun Hyatt resorts in Mexico.
We definitely are. Hi, Janet in Phoenix. And hi, Tina's here. Good. Everybody's popping in here. Let me pop this in here as well. If you would like to see your face and your name next to your comments, you can go to streamyard.com/Facebook. Give it permission. That's all you give it permission for. Don't worry. I say that every week, don't I, Joel? Because I know how
Yep.
people feel about clicking on a link. And you will be able to see your name. Hi, Cindy. And we have Corey in KC. Cindy's in Atlanta. Sue from San Francisco, headed to Italy. We are officially jealous. So I don't, you know how many times I've been to Italy, Joel?
How
Four
many times?
times. Four
Four
times.
times.
Yes, sir. And I still am jealous. I will go back every single time. I tell you. Hello from Venice, Italy. Look at this. I see a Hyatt right across the
And
street from where I'm staying. Any suggestions for me to wiggle in a Hyatt? It sounds like wiggling in less than 24 hours. We're starting in already.
yeah, yeah.
We will jump in. Get our favorites here from Vegas. Hi, Slobanonga.
Slobodanka, hello.
Yes, a few more. Lewis in
She's in the
Atlanta.
middle of a globalist run. I'm not sure if she's finished it yet, but
Okay, well, I bet she'll tell us because
yeah.
do tell. Beth from Chandler, Charlotte. We have two from Atlanta already. I love it. Hi, Gentry from Surprise, looking to travel to Park City soon. Okay, seriously, what's up with Venice? I feel like we have we
You
have
guys will love. Oh,
oh,
I wonder if I could dig it up. I'll see. But one of our
Murano is beautiful too, by the way, if you're in Venice.
one of our experts just did a blueprint. We do blueprints on how our experts are taking these crazy trips for so little money.
Mhm.
And he showed us pictures, and then he broke down exactly how he took a $23,000 first class 5-star resort vacation, all Hyatts,
Mhm.
for under $900 for two of them.
Dang. The blueprints are cool, by the way. And in case you're just tuning in and you don't know what group we're talking about, we're in the village, but it's the lounge where we really get into some pretty deep dives.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if
So the village is mini coaching
Mhm,
tips and tricks that'll
mhm.
definitely help save you $1,000 to $5,000 a year in travel. So you can basically elevate your game and get 1,000 to 5,000 more out of your travel budget just from applying the free tips we teach. Our coaching program, that number is more like $5,000 to $50,000 by applying the strategies that we teach.
Yes. Yes. And if you're
One of which is
interested,
what we're gonna talk about today.
we are. So we're going to dive in. But if you are interested, just type that magic word interested. We have several people out there today that are helping us. Every week, we do have folks like Brooke that are helping us out, Jordan. And so we're going to, and that's who we have on staff this week. So, yes, that will get back to you, right? As soon as you say
Yes,
interested.
absolutely.
Okay. Real quick. I love this one. Hi, Joel and Mia. I'm looking forward to learning about Hyatt. Dream trip is over the water bungalows. You, me, and Mira. Okay. That's our dream trip. Tuning in
Yep.
from Lake Lanier at Cumming, Georgia, just north of Atlanta. That's
Lots
awesome.
of
Justin
Atlanta
says,
members.
we are. I'm not on Facebook, but learned a lot from y'all and got to Globalist using your advice, Justin.
Right.
That's
Good job,
awesome.
Justin.
And one more quick thing. She says, not yet. Doing some mattress runs here in LV this week. Have reservation for Long Beach next week. May need to push it for the following. We'll see. She's flexible. And I dig
Mattress
that.
run. We'll talk a little bit about
Yes,
that
we
later.
will. We will. And someone is waiting on the dreaded passport renewals. We feel you. Expedited. Oh gosh, we sure feel you. We've talked about that before too. On waiting for that passport. That's a nail biter. Correct. All right. Are you ready? And Robert's interested already. So let's
All right.
let's get rolling.
Yeah, and folks, yeah, we do have, so Brooke, everyone knows Brooke, she's everywhere. But because of how we've been growing, we've been hiring. So if you hear from someone other than Brooke, right now we've got Jordan helping us out. Someone else is going to be stepping in to help out next week. We're still interviewing for that. So don't worry, no one's trying to poach our traffic or steal anyone. We're growing, and we've got a lot of people helping behind the scenes.
Yes.
So if right now it will either be Brooke or Jordan who are reaching out to you to ask further questions and help get what you're looking for.
Fun. I love it. And speaking of Brooke, that's Brooke right there, isn't it, in that picture?
That is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Ta-da!
That was Brooke on her first trip as a globalist.
Yes.
Brooke also helped put this slide together. I cheated. These are just a small sample of the slides that we do in some of our weekly topics. So we've been covering the globalist topic for about a month now because this was a small window of time, and I just grabbed just some of the slides that she put through, which are just like step by step by step on how to get globalist with the most ease.
Gotcha.
So Hyatt Globalist. Let's talk about that.
Yes, please.
So what is Hyatt Globalist? It's basically the highest tier status that is within the Hyatt chain of hotels. Now, lots of people join the lounge and they say, well, I'm a Marriott person, or I'm a Hilton person, or whatever. And that's perfectly fine. The beauty of the Jagoot way of travel are we've got dozens of tools, and you can pick and choose what tools you want in your tool belt. We just happen to have a lot of people who are big Hyatt fans because they tend to treat their loyal clients a lot better than the competition. And we've had people who have converted from Marriott to Hyatt, and they've said, oh my gosh, I see the light. Like, I'm not even a globalist yet. I'm just like the minimum discoverist level, and they're already getting better treatment than the highest level at other competing chains. Not to say there aren't exceptions to those rules, but in my personal experience, which I'll share, Hyatt Globalist is unbelievable. I mean, just the way they treat their globalists is like nothing I've ever seen. So what does this globalist status get you? Like I said, it's the highest status that Hyatt has. They don't really do the bronze, silver, gold, platinum. They do discoverist, explorist, globalist. And the biggest, coolest thing is the upgrades. If you do a search for globalist in Jagoot Village, you'll see where one of our experts, Andy Kentu, who has been a globalist for a long time, shared all of the perks that he gets. And, he shares $1,000, $1,500 a night places that he spends like $100, $150 for. So upgrades are the biggest, coolest things. Bottom line, you get upgrade, you get the chance to be upgraded. They're pretty high odds, but it's never guaranteed. But I'd say all but one time I've had an upgrade worth at least $200 a night. And you can get upgrades for free that are worth as much as $1,000 a night. And what that means to most of us regular old people earning regular old incomes, we get to stay in places that we would never in our lives spend our hard-earned money on for free. I mean, forget 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Reason number 1 alone is worth jumping through a few hoops to get that globalist status. Because you get that status for another, as of right now, you get it for another 15 months.
Dang.
So every time you get to a Hyatt, you check in, you get the cheapest room in the place, and you're guaranteed at least a 1 level upgrade, and we show you tips and tricks on how to get even better.
What I love about that too, Joel, is that many of us really are not used to that. It seems so unattainable. The upgrade, even upgrading to another class in airlines and so forth, which we have a
Yeah.
ton of videos on that, folks. So we're not going to cover it today, but we do have a
Yeah.
lot in our guide section. You'll see over in the village. But yeah, it's a mindset change.
Yeah. So
Upgrading
that's the coolest thing. We have another video. If you go to the guides section, we have a full interview of Ashley, one of our members.
Mhm.
Item number 2, free breakfast. They have a family of 5. She said that they have earned enough to justify their membership in the lounge, our coaching program, just from the free breakfasts that they've gotten. So as you know, most resorts, they're pretty pricey, $50 a day and up. My wife and I, the last Hyatt we went to, it was a breakfast buffet. It was $80. It was like $45 a person.
Dang. I mean, that's a very cheap lunch in New York or a medium dinner in Denver, right?
Yeah.
And that's $50 each, right?
Fancy resorts have
Yes.
fancy prices for food.
They really do. So that's worth it. Absolutely. When you start adding in those numbers too of what you're getting, and I think that's the piece that people don't get right off the bat, but that's what we're learning today.
Yep. Yeah, and the fancier the resort fee. Almost everyone has resort fees now. It's just a part of the game, kind of like having to pay for extra baggage. It's par for the course with most resorts. As a globalist, it's waived. Parking fees. Oh, parking isn't even listed here. Reason number 7, waived parking. I guess there's a caveat.
3.5. Right.
Last Hyatt I went to was $57 a day for valet.
Dang.
That's waived. Award nights every several nights. It's kind of like, stay a certain number of nights, you stay for free. Upgrade certificates. Again, these are perks that you achieve once you achieve certain levels. And so at that point, upgrades aren't a gamble. You can redeem your certificate and make plans around it and know that you're going to have a 1,500 square foot suite.
Wow.
By using that certificate. And that's good for up to 7 nights. So anytime you take that long vacation, that's when you redeem those certificates.
Good tip, by the way. And use that wisely for the longer trips.
Yep. Club level access. That's another perk of being Hyatt Globalist. So you get your free breakfast. That's pretty much standard everywhere. And if they don't have a restaurant, they give you a daily credit at their, all Hyatts have at least a marketplace where you can just go and buy, just like a convenience store, you can buy an egg sandwich or whatever, coffee, breakfast, bars,
those things you really kind of forget about that is so easy for you to access at home or just jump in the car. That is super expensive, can be super expensive, but that's great as well too. And can I just comment real quick? Justin Moore said he stayed at a Thompson hotel this weekend as a globalist. They were full. They didn't get an upgrade. They weren't offering breakfast, but because of this, they didn't charge for the stay for the weekend. It was completely free, and they didn't charge me for parking or valet either. Wow. So, So I love those things. This is the way to expand your mind as well. As you may not get this, but with it, you still will get this or this. So nice, Justin. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yes.
And I just want to do a little shout out. Justin, thank you so much for sharing. Like, he's a member of the village. He isn't in the lounge. We really pride ourselves on giving valuable information that you can go and apply yourself. We see a lot of people that like discount the advice that we give because it's for free. It's not a part of our paid program. But the whole idea is, hey, look, go try the stuff we teach. You can go to the guides section in our Facebook group. Try it out, apply it. It will save you $1,000 to $5,000 in travel. And rather than saying save you $1,000 to $5,000, that's an extra $1,000 to $5,000 in travel that we normally wouldn't spend money on. So Justin, thank you for sharing. That's really valuable. We love when we hear that even our free subscribers are benefiting.
I just want to put that up. He says they definitely take good care of Globalists. So that's so valuable to hear that. Thank you.
Let's see.
I love that.
So, club level access, you get your free breakfast. And then when clubs are open, they're starting to reopen. They've been closed down because of COVID, because it does take staffing and all that, but they're starting to reopen, and that's like basically a happy hour, so free happy hour too, in the fancy club level at resorts that have that.
Yeah.
So those are most of the perks, not all, but a lot of the big ones. This is what I'm really excited about, is being able to share pictures from our actual clients who are staying at these places based on what we taught back in January. So these folks have applied what we teach. We've got at least 20, 25 members who became globalists by applying the tips that we teach,
right,
and now have this status through February of 2023. So every time they travel, every time they do a staycation, they can check into the cheapest room in the place and be pretty well guaranteed of a nice upgrade worth $100, $200, $500 a night.
A night. That's such a point to fine point to put on there too. It's a night, not overall, which is that's amazing. Especially when I look at these pictures, and we have done some videos of Ziva as well as folks that have stayed at Zalara as well. And where was Ashley staying at in our video?
So, and that, Ashley, she's convinced the Ziva's way better. And actually, I mean, I don't know that I would argue. They're two entirely different places. And I would say the Ziva is the 5-star version. The Zalara is the 4-star version. When we went, we couldn't get into Ziva. It was booked on the weekend we went. We went to Zalara, and it was awesome.
You loved it.
I don't know that I would argue with Hyatt. I mean, just the star ratings alone say that they're both amazing, great resorts. Yeah, I mean, Ashley, John Santarpia has posted videos in the lounge from their stay at the Hyatt Ziva. Both of them got amazing upgrades to like $1,000, $1,200 a night places, and they checked into the cheapest room in the place. My wife and I have stayed in the Zalara. Another one of our members stayed in a room next door. I don't know if that picture's mine or hers, because we both saw the same amazing sunrises. And
blend in.
Yeah, so that's the Zalara. I know Mira mentioned that, like, they just checked into the cheapest room and they just got treated like royalty. They got butler service. We got the same thing. I think our butler was sick that week. They weren't as great, but I mean, we got a swim out room for and we did have to pay like $50 a night. But it was an extra $300 a night of the value of the room.
Let me comment on this real quick as well. Most of the clubs out of the U.S. are already open. We did not have to buy dinner in Rio at all because they had soup, sandwiches, and drinks from 5 to 11. That would totally do it for me as well. Brooke says the food's amazing. We never have to eat when we stay at the Hyatt. So again, these are things that start to add up as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's the funny thing. Those are all the things that when you go to check out, you're like, wait, this can't be right. Oh crap. Yeah, it is. We spent $40 a head on breakfast, and
shocker. Definitely
$20 on dinner, $20 a person on dinner, which they often credit. So, Los Altos, I did a full video on that.
We did.
Possibly the most unbelievable stay I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
And the only reason it was a $750 a night place in Costa Rica. So that's actually that's probably like a $1,200 place, $1,500 place in the US. And the only reason we paid $150 was because we had 4 guests. Would have been free if it was just 2 of us.
And by the way, that picture is of the unit. That's not the lobby.
Yeah, when we got off the elevator that went exclusively to our room, we thought we were getting off in the hotel hallway. That was our unit. And I was like, oh, cool. They have a common area. He said, no, that's your living
actual
room.
place too. So again, to be clear then, and we're going to give you more information on that. I know that cracked me up when you showed us. We did do a live stream, and those are all in the, we have a whole list of video in the guides, videos in the guides, but in the guide, but that was interesting to, have it would have been free, but again, because you upgraded. So don't worry, we're going to tell you a little bit more about that, but we wanted to whet your appetite. It gets me every time I see these photos.
So big question, how do we get Hyatt Globalist status? So I think Hyatt has made a brilliant move. Normally, it takes 60 nights. You have to stay at their resort 60 nights in a calendar year to earn Hyatt Globalist status. Because of COVID, they kind of wanted to get a toehold on people returning to travel. And they said, we're cutting that in half. And it's only 30 nights. And then back in January, there was another loophole that we taught all of our globalists to take advantage of that basically allowed it to be done for 15 nights. Well, last month, a new loophole opened up, and basically it means that all you have to do is do 10 nights at a Hyatt resort.
So originally 60, and now we're talking 10.
Now we're talking 10 for
Holy crap.
pretty much another week.
Okay.
And I'll get to the math on why it's another week. Technically, it's through the end of the year, but you have a week to act on this. Let's talk about that. There are multiple ways to do that. So it's normally 60 nights to earn globalist status, and then you have that for the rest of the year plus the following year. Right now, you can do it for as few as 10. Tie a string around that. We'll come back.
Okay.
There are 3 ways you can do it. You can do it with cash. That's the simplest, easiest way. Remember, the Jagut way is not about juggling lots of credit cards. It's about being savvy with where you spend your travel dollars.
Right.
Hey, Sage. Good to see you. Sage is one of our lounge members.
Yes. Love it when our lounge members show up.
So so cash is one way you do that. Points is another. It's entirely possible to stay your 10 or 20 or 30 nights and do it without spending a penny out of pocket. You can pay for these with points. And in the lounge, we talk about how to earn those points and whether it's worth your while to do that or pay cash.
Right.
And then one of many ways you can earn those points are credit card sign-up bonuses. Now, that is kind of the kicker with today's topic. That's the opportunity that is about to close. And there are, what's today, the 20th? So technically there are 10 days left, but it's really less than a week, and I'll explain why later. Okay. So just tie a string around a couple of those things, the 10 nights and the credit card. Those are the 2 kickers. Cash and points, those are easy to figure out, but those are the things to keep in mind. So let's talk about the nights. So basically you have to stay a minimum of 10 nights before December 31st. But if you get Hyatt's credit card, so basically you can, you apply for the credit card. They started this promo a month ago when we announced it and did a whole course inside Jagut Lounge. And that basically says, oh, if you get this credit card, we'll give you a bunch of points and we'll start you off as a discoverist, which is great. So the second you get the card, you automatically have status with Hyatt. And if we have time, I'll come back to that discoverist story. I'll tell you about when we checked in as globalists and discoverists got a better perk than us.
Interesting.
Mostly because they asked for it and we didn't. So
bitter party of 2. I would have been mad.
even minimum status gives you the right to ask. That's the point.
Yes.
And then so when you get the credit card, the other big bonus is they say, oh, and every night you stay, we will count as 2 nights. Oh, and by the way, if you get a credit card, we'll throw in 5 nights.
Wow.
So there are all sorts of perks that basically reduce that minimum requirement. But the key is you have to get that credit card. We'll come back to that.
Okay.
So this is Brooke again at the Hyatt at Beaver Creek.
Did you see her comment? This was their private pool at the Park Hyatt, Beaver Creek. Little FYI. So
I didn't know that.
I didn't
That's
either.
great. I was actually thinking that was at the one where we all met in Aspen, but that's a private pool at Beaver Creek. Pretty cool.
Crazy. Especially for kids. Can you imagine how cool you would be? What a cool parent you would be?
Right.
Brooke is
Kinda
the cool
like she's
parent.
doing right there. Yeah.
Yes, I love it. And
so,
Lorraine says she's a newbie lounger and she just got her credit card. So
all right. Good job,
go.
Lorraine. Definitely ask questions along the way. That's what the lounge is for.
Mm-hmm.
Here are some other places. And again, I'm more excited about this stuff than everything else because this is the direct result of what one of our 7 coaches inside Jagoot Lounge, one of our 8 coaches inside Jagoot Lounge taught all of our members back in January. They applied it within a month. Some of them were globalists. And these are all basically places where they checked into the cheapest room at the place and they got upgraded. I can't speak to the value of each of those. I do know the Aliyah. That, by the way, was announced and talked about in our group. One of our members, John, shared it with everyone else several months before the points guy announced it. Now that the points guy announced it, that secret's out. Those deals are a lot harder to find. But they checked in. They basically got in for free on very minimal points, and they got in a $900 a night room overlooking the vineyard in Napa Valley.
That view right there.
What's that?
That view right there. Picture on the right in the center. Who was that went on that trip?
So John Santarpia went on it, and he kind of shared it with everyone in the lounge. And I know a couple other people went. Stephanie was one of them, and she also did a before and after comparison. She compared like a trip she took in 2019 with the $2,000 budget, and then she compared a trip that she took with the tricks that she learned as a Jagoot Lounge member with the same $2,000, and showed all of the luxury stuff. Like before was like budget motels and cheap Airbnb rooms in Airbnbs, and all of her stays were like private, like private suites overlooking Napa and etc.
And the biggest difference it is, and this is just a quick plug for the lounge. You see that interested at the bottom there too. When they respond to you, they'll give you all the information about cost and also make sure that it's a fit for you. Joel, we mentioned before we hit the play button that we had a phrase that we're using for the lounge. Like if you're traveling and go ahead.
Yeah. So, and that's the beauty. So like the lounge is definitely for, savvy travelers who want to take their game to the next level. But that's not to say that if you only travel once a year because that's all that's in the budget, or twice a year and it's just to visit, mom's side of the family and dad's side of the family. If that's you, well, what we teach inside the village can teach you to do that for entirely free.
Yeah. And that's where we are right now.
You can take that and spend your money elsewhere, whether it's more fun excursions or upgrading your rooms or eventually joining the lounge. So our goal is if our coaching program isn't a fit, that's perfectly fine. In fact, half of the time we advise people to say, go watch this video for free in the village, apply it, and and then come back and join the lounge for the paid group.
Yes.
So
okay. Well, now because I see a lot of
village,
people.
No reason you can't get $1,000 to $5,000 in extra travel perks just from what we teach there. The lounge, at a zero. That's kind of our goal.
Amen. And then we have, it's so hard to know what to do. So many points on my timeshares, not enough time or money to rent a car. Flights are not the issue so much, but I always get excited to hear these sessions. So I'm glad to hear that as well, that it's helpful. So I can see some questions popping in about which credit cards and what to do. So I know we'll dive into that as well.
Sure. Well, so let's get into that. Let's talk about the important thing. Remember, number one rule of Jagoot, it has to do with cash. Look every day and go where the cash bargains are. So you always there are plenty of times where you pay cash and then you use your perks or you use your points for upgrades, or you use your points as a backup when you don't like the cash price. But when you know how to find bargain cash prices, well, you don't waste those points, because that's like, those points are so much more valuable than dollars. So in the same light, you can earn globalist status with nothing but cash. Just pay cash, find cheap rooms. One of our members is applying 3 different strategies that we teach, kind of like a trifecta of her own that she made up on her own from the strategies that we teach. And she's going to earn globalist status for $330 out of pocket. $33 a night.
Wow.
So when you find that, like, they don't count, they don't care if you spend $1,000 a night on a penthouse suite or $33 on a Hyatt house.
A night's a night. Like,
That's
let's
per
just
night.
it's but a night, but it just counts as a night. Is
Correct.
the point being whether you spend this or not. Here's a quick, I'm going to pop this in here because I like to sprinkle some questions too. So is there an advantage to having both spouses go for Hyatt Globalists?
That's a great question. And my wife and I have been debating on that. And we're kind of not really worrying about it because 90% of the time we travel together. And she's taking a trip very soon. And we actually have a meeting scheduled tonight of how to plan that, because the beauty of being a Hyatt Globalist is you can loan that status to a friend. I just loaned my status. I had friends that went to Hawaii for their first year honeymoon, and I just booked it for them. They gave me the points. I booked it for them, and they got treated as if they were globalists.
Oh my
So
gosh, that's so cool. That's a great
technically, you
idea.
could do it, but I don't know that it's worth the trouble, even at only 10 nights.
Gotcha. One other quick one. Eileen asked, does this all only apply to Hyatt resorts or hotels as well?
So in this case, this is for Hyatt resorts.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if the question is about this globalist topic itself or Jagut Lounge. So, and
I would
actually,
say
I've
the
got a video
globalist
clip
topic.
from someone talking about the latter part. But
Yes.
today's topic is about Hyatt Globalist, and that's specifically for the Hyatt brand of hotels.
Okay.
And as I've mentioned before, what we teach in our coaching program is, we've got dozens of tools that you can pick and choose what work for your traveling lifestyle. I love Hyatt Globalist. My parents almost apologized to me, kind of saying, well, we don't think it's a fit for us. And that's fine. It isn't a fit for them for reasons that we don't need to go into right now. But like that, it's a personal choice, and it's one of many tools that you can apply for your own personal travel lifestyle.
Nice. Sage says, I got to put that. I just booked a $15,000 hotel stays and air for $60 from the lounge learning, which, and let me just be clear too, because Gerald's over on YouTube. Good to see you over there. Thank you. How did you get $33 a night? But again, every situation is going to be different.
Yeah.
It depends on where you're traveling from as well. So that is something that we teach of how to find your own magic recipe.
Yeah. Ron asked how to be a friend of Joel. This is where I got to just give a shout out. I might get teary. I got to give a shout out to the lounge, because we had one of our members last week who was worried about her points not transferring fast enough. And, she was like 3 weeks in. Oh, I have her testimonial, but she was 3 weeks in, and the conversation behind the scenes was unbelievable. Like, we had lounge members saying, oh, did you try this? Oh, did you try that? Yeah. And another lounge member volunteered to say, hey, transfer your points to me. I'll book it right now if you're worried about not getting the stay.
Yeah.
That's family. I mean, we're not talking about, you don't have to be a friend of me. You have to be a part of the lounge community.
I mean, being a friend of you is good. And let's not sell you short, Joel, but I hear what you're saying on that one, which I love too. And Eileen said she did mean Hyatt hotels as well. So that, I think we answered that too.
Okay,
that's
good.
Awesome.
So,
okay. All right.
Today's topic is about specifically the Hyatt and their status of globalist. Marriott has different levels called gold, silver, platinum, titanium, etc. Right. I mean, they had to make up titanium just to sound fancier. Still ain't as good as globalist.
I love it. Okay, so that cash, yes, cash is always good. Oh, good. Here's the video.
So this is a case study. You can find this inside our guides, and this is Ashley. Lots of great tips that she gave just in that case study. But this is worth just playing. Let me just make sure.
My
favorite thing about this globalist thing and staying here and everything that I learned in the lounge is I asked people I met at the hotel what they were paying, and they were not in this room. They were just in basic rooms, and they almost paid double what I paid for this room, which thrilled me. Just so exciting. And it feels nice to be somewhere so fancy and not feel like I'm spending thousands and thousands of dollars to stay here. I never would have had that globalist status. Never even looked into Hyatt or seeing that as a possibility.
I keep watching that tub, man.
Oh, best.
I still feel that way about that tub. And that actually was at Ziva. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So what we were just talking about a few minutes ago.
No, I'm
All
not
right.
thinking
Hold on.
about this
No
globalist
worries.
thing.
There we go. So that's cash, and Ashley paid cash for that. She got the cheapest room in the place. She got upgraded to the best room in the place. Does that happen every time? No. Are there strategies to increase your odds of getting that? Yes, that's what we teach inside the lounge. Those are like, we have multiple classes on just that. So that's cash. You don't have to juggle lots of credit cards. You don't have to juggle any credit cards. In fact, I think I'm okay saying this. And if not, apologies, Sage, but I'm pretty sure he's bragged about this all the time. They do like 90% rule number one. They deal very little with points. So there are plenty of, points
Cash
are just
folks.
one trick.
Yeah.
That we teach. So on that note, let's talk about points. So the other way you can do this is by paying with points. And the beauty of getting a card so that your nights for the rest of the year count double is that it can be done with only 10 nights.
And that was the first slide we're referring to as well, because there's different, that was the asterisk. We could do this in 10 nights. So this is the way to do it.
So you do it in 10 nights, find a $33 a night place, find a $50 place. Who cares? Find a $100 a night place. Like, that would be worth it. $1,000 would be worth it. And I think any lounge members who are now globalists, if you were to pay cash and do 10 nights, just get the credit card just so that you only need 10 nights instead of 20. And actually it's 10 instead of 30. If you paid $100 a night, that's $1,000. Let's just take a quick survey of lounge members or of globalists who would say, is it worth spending $1,000 to have globalist status through the end of February 2023? Let's just take a survey. I'm working without a net here. And now let's compare points. You can do it by getting the card with 10 nights, or you can with a certain minimum spend. You do have to spend 15 grand on the card, but that's, all of your normal expenses that you would put on the card.
Right.
And that you could do it on points for $0 out of pocket. And you just get the credit card just because it cuts the number of nights in half. Go get the card. It makes achieving globalist a lot cheaper. You could still do it with cash for $330 to $1,100. Who cares? It's probably worth it, because in my experience, I would say that the average value of each night that I stay at a Hyatt resort is probably about $250 in like free upgrades, perks, breakfasts, foods, drinks, parking, resort fees, all of that. $250 per night in stuff I wouldn't usually spend real money on.
Right. And let me just ask you this, because I know we have our jgoot.com/cards. Is there a link for this card?
Yes.
Okay, good. Talk about that real quick so everybody understands what these links are.
So one of the ways that we have such great expertise in the village is our experts. So we have 8 coaches inside Jagoot Lounge who are there to help with whatever part of the journey you need help with. And they also help out in the lounge. And the way one of the ways we compensate them for that is points. And up until recently, that was the largest way we compensated most of them, because they can do more with points than dollars.
Yes.
So when you go to jgoot.com/cards, those links go to just a rotating link that rotate the referrals around to our experts. So you're helping keep Jagoot Village free by getting referral points for our experts.
Let me ask this one real quick. If you're going for globalists, you need the Hyatt card. That's what somebody was asking too. And that's at that 10 nights, right?
You don't need it. But basically you're going to have to stay 30 nights if you don't have the credit card.
Right. So 10 nights at the Globalist. And let me ask you this. See, now this is why I like hosting this show, because then I can front row ask questions. What about me? But I just got the Chase preferred. No, I can't remember. might be reserved. One of those. And now I have that, but I think I'm going to go for this one too. Now, do you think that would be, because my credit's good now because I took that one? Remember we did the course where I got to ask about
Oh, yeah.
building my credit? That's here in the village as well. So I am a walking example of that. But is that something that you feel like you need super good credit for that World of Hyatt? I'm sure people are asking that question in their head.
So that one, I would say you need a minimum score of about 650.
Okay.
So which is kind of the minimum threshold of good. So if you have fair credit, this probably won't work for you. I would say the very first thing you should do, if that's the case, actually, there are two things you should do.
Okay.
One, go to Jagut Village and go to the top. There's a pinned post that has a free guide. That is a free guide on how to travel anywhere for free. Go look at that post, read it, comment in that post, and we will get you that free guide. That actually gives you instructions on the Jagut way of applying for a credit card. If you can't pass step one, in other words, if you do your credit check and it's less than 675 or 650 in this case, then go to our guides section and skip straight to the bottom. Section 5 of our free guides has a how to boost your credit score by as much as 200 points. You can literally boost your score by a couple hundred points in a couple months.
You really can.
If you're even if you're in the 400s, you can get into the range of being eligible for these cards by applying those tips that we give for free in our guides section.
Thanks for letting me veer into that, because I think that was really important for people to understand as well, is the different ways, the practical ways you can take a look at this. So obviously, if you think your credit isn't that high, then you're going to need to go with the cash piece and the 30 days, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And technically there's a way to do it in 20, but that is a rabbit hole that we only cover in the lounge. That's an ultra advanced topic. We have a class on it. We literally, we have a 50-minute or an hour-long class where we talk about how to actually do it in 20 nights without getting the credit card. But to do it in 10, the only way is by getting that credit card between the dates of August 16th and September 30th, which is fastly approaching.
Yeah, it really is.
Approaching.
Can I throw this in there? What link do you use to get the Hyatt card? That's the link that we just showed. Let me pop that up there again. If you buy the rooms in 10 days but haven't stayed there, can you still qualify for Globalist? Meaning, is it a booking thing? It's a booking thing, right?
No, so you do have to stay. That's actually a discussed topic as well.
Yes.
So you get the card, and the caveat is the way you can stay 10 nights is by spending $15,000 on the card. That's the minimum to get 60,000 points. Yes. You can also do it by only spending 3,000, but you basically get 6 free nights by spending $15,000 on that card. You also get 5 nights for signing up for the card. So that's 11 nights right there. And then if you sign up for the card, so 11 nights, that means you have 19 remaining. You sign up for the card, every night you stay counts as 2. So boom, there you go.
Okay,
10 nights and you're there.
Going to Greece next week, staying 4 nights, 109 at Athens. I love when these practical, this is what we actually did with our life and our advice thing comes up. Okay, go ahead. Lots of good comments.
So yeah, by doing it with points, you can do it for 0 cost. So you get to pick and choose. If you don't want to mess with it, just pay cash. Go find a cheap place and just buy the nights. This I felt compelled to put in here. This is another case study. I told you earlier about Stephanie, who compared her 2019 and her 2021 trip. Same $2,000 night and day difference of what they got for their vacation. But someone else asked, seems like you're all about Hyatt Globalist status. Well, here's what Stephanie had to say about that.
Brett, can I give you a quick, a 30-second sneak peek of what my next
trip
is? So I just booked it the other night. It's going to be 8 nights in Hawaii.
Anyway.
Open jaw. So we're doing 2 islands, Kauai and Oahu. I have a friend who stays in Oahu. And previously I've been able to stay with her, borrow a car from her, but this time I don't want to impose. And I was like, you know what? I've got so many resources and ways that I can make this trip budget friendly. I'm not going to bother my friend to stay with her. So we're actually doing 4 nights in Kauai at the Grand Hyatt. combination of cash and points, and then flying over to Oahu and just staying at the Hyatt Place in Waikiki, and including a rental car for each island. And one of them, the one in Oahu, is actually a convertible Mustang that we're renting. And in total, spending $1,900 on this trip, including flights too.
For Hawaii.
For Hawaii, yes.
So flights, lodging,
Yes,
everything.
everything. And that's
Right, folks.
Grand Hyatt is like a $700 a night hotel.
Yeah, look it up. Grand Hyatt. It's my wife and I went there. We stayed at the Marriott, which was a pretty nice place. It was a $400 a night place, and we did it on points. Got to go for free, but we went and had dinner at the Hyatt like multiple times that week because it's that gorgeous.
Yeah, I'm excited. And there's a lounge too for that Globalist members can get into with free hors d'oeuvres and drinks and free breakfast. So hopefully going to save some money on food because, that's like one of the most expensive things in Hawaii is to pay for the food and drink.
Right.
So we've got a good chunk of that actually taken care of. So yeah, but there's a lot you could do on a $2,000 budget. That's always been our travel budget. And it's crazy the things I'm doing now with it compared to before.
I love that.
But can I give you a quick, like, 30-second sneak peek of what my next?
There we go.
Yeah. Perfect.
So I messed up. I loaded the wrong clip. There was another one where someone said, it seems like this is all about globalists. But again, and then she said, no, like that's one of many tools that I can apply based on whatever I'm going for at the time. So I loaded up the wrong clip, but I think that meant that was basically talking about like going the points route. So that's an example of her going the points route. She's staying at a $750 a night place minimum. That's the minimum. And then if they get upgraded, well, they'll get upgraded to $1,000, $1,500 a night place. But if not, they're staying at a $750 a night place for 30,000 points.
Right. That's amazing.
So again, they're not having to spend that hard-earned money that they probably wouldn't have spent because they get to use points and they know how to redeem them efficiently. Most people would redeem 30,000 points for like a third of an iPad.
I know. You hear us use that example quite a bit too. Jill's here too. Hey, Jill, learned so much in the lounge. Currently working on globalist status. Not there yet, but thanks to the lounge. That's awesome. And then we do have some other credit card questions too. So, but I know you want to get through your slides and then we'll take some comments and then we're coming up towards the end too. So all your comments count into us drawing a random number that will be a comment number. And then we will, we'll pick that at the end of the show.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's wrap up the points part of it. So you get the card, you get 30,000 points for spending $3,000. The way to do it with 10 nights is to put 15 grand on that card. That doesn't mean go and spend 15 grand that you wouldn't spend. It means put everything you can on that card. Swipe the groceries, pay your Netflix. If you need to, pay your rent, pay your mortgage with it so that you can hit that 15,000. And that gets you 60,000 points. Rooms start at 5,000 points a night. We actually have a class on how to find the cheapest rooms, whether it's $33, whether it's for cash or for points. If you do points, 60,000 points, that's 12 nights in itself. So that's how you could do this for zero cost out of pocket if you want. We talk about the math of whether you want to do it that way or whether you want to save those points for more valuable redemption. But yeah, spend 15,000 in 90 days. That for those that's a stretch. Again, you can get creative. You can pay your mortgage. You can Google something called manufactured spending that can allow you to spend any amount of money and get reimbursed for it. So there are plenty of ways to go earn that, and that's how you do it. You earn Globalist. You sign up for the card. You cut the required nights in half. You get 11 free nights. And you stay 10 you find cheap places at 5,000 points a night, and that gives you 12 free nights. So you could earn globalist status without taking a penny out of your pocket. So there you go. That's your free tip in the village. Like, go and do it. If you can use jgoot.com/cards, we would appreciate it. Not required. That's kind
the
of
bottom.
what we like to teach in the village. You want to take that and add a 0 to those numbers and stretch your travel budget 5 or 10 times farther. That's what we teach inside the lounge.
I am popping through these comments as well. Go ahead and keep talking. I know, we just met Joe a couple weeks ago. So credit cards, which we've been talking about, but go ahead.
Yeah, so I got kind of ahead of myself. The credit card is the linchpin to this, and you have 1 week left. So today is September 20th. I'm comfortable saying dates because we're going to have to delete this video because then we'll get tons of questions afterwards. That after it's gone, and that'll be like rubbing people's noses in it. So you have 1 week to go and get the card. Why not 10 days? Because sometimes they don't give you immediate approval. And if you don't get that card by September 30th, you don't get the double benefits, which defeats the purpose of even getting the card. So technically we have 10 days from right now to the end of the month, but I would say you have a max of a week. And quite frankly, I would act on this like right now. Because if they don't give you automatic approval, well, then you have to call the reconsideration line, and just Google that term. If you don't get approved, Google Hyatt or Chase reconsideration line. It's about a 40% chance that will happen. 90% of the time, it's because something in their algorithm said don't give them immediate approval. You call them, you verify your income, they give you the card. Yes,
don't take it personally, but try it again.
Yeah. So this is Joe. He's one of our experts. Really fun story behind this. He's here in Denver. Mia's here in Denver. I'm in Denver. We've got a lot of lounge members in Denver because this is where I founded the company here in Denver. So we have the most members. And he was just basically trying to sell a few extra tickets for a friend who's doing a show. He's like, hey, anybody want to come to this show? She's a great artist. A few people said, yeah, sure, I'll show up. Mira, like our JGoot's, she is like the poster child for the JGoot way of travel. She was already a savvy traveler, but she's a way more savvy traveler. She chimed in and said, I'll come out. I need the miles anyway. She came out. 10 of us were hanging out in Denver. Every single one of us got upgraded, or I think every single one of us that were globalists got upgraded to a suite. So it was kind of like everyone was fighting over who had a suite like this.
Right.
This is basically where we hung out.
Yeah.
So, and it's like an apartment, but it's in a Hyatt hotel downtown.
That was fun to do all of our our brainstorming together too. So that's the kind of fun thing. And you'll see this in the village as well, that a lot of comments, and I see a lot of comments that we may not be able to get to in questions, but we really appreciate that too. Christina, we totally understand that. Just keep a lot of these things. Otherwise this card would be perfect. I hear you on that too.
Yeah.
So
very good point. Very good point. If you're going to do a home loan in the near future, call your lender. Don't go running out, signing up for cards ever if you anticipate like getting a home loan in the near future. Now, from a credit standpoint, this increases your credit score in the long run, but in the short run, it would give you a little ding. So very good point, Christina.
Yes, always just a little bit of a dip, anticipated as well. If you're like me, I'm watching my credit like a hawk. I'm literally, it's like a newborn baby for me. I'm constantly, what's it doing? So, you'll definitely, you'll definitely hear, you'll hear quickly, but it always is good to know what's going on in your world. And again, we do not preach opening a bunch of credit cards. So we speak on that a lot. It's very few. Somebody said they thought it said, it is. I think they're thinking 150,000.
Let me clarify on that.
1,000. Yes, please do.
So basically there are all sorts of rules. And this is one of the rules of JGoot Way. Learn the rules of each credit card that you have inside and out. Don't go constantly chasing new credit cards just to get sign-up bonuses. Just learn how to maximize the benefits of the cards that you have. And so for the Hyatt card, there are various elements. Getting the card means that every stay that you have counts for 2 nights if you get that card before September 30th. On top of that, you get 30,000 points once you spend $3,000 on the card. A lot of people will only do that. They won't go the full length of 15,000. But the fine print that allows you to do this for 10 nights instead of 14 or instead of 20 or instead of 30 is that if you spend $15,000, that's 2 extra nights because, like these things compound on top of each other. And so you get 5 nights for signing up for the card. Every night you stay counts for 2 nights. On top of that, every $5,000 you spend on the card gives you 2 nights. So the secret to doing this for 10 nights is get the card, get the double night credit, get the 5 free nights, and get 2 nights per $5,000 you spend. So technically, if you spend a lot of money, like if you spend, it would take $50,000, you could $25,000. That could be all of your nights right there. No, I think it'd be more. It'd be like $35,000. But if you spend a lot, you could do this without ever spending a single dime staying at a Hyatt. That's extreme. That's not what any of the methods that we talk about. But if someone owns a business that spends a lot of money, spend 35 or 40 grand on the card and you're a globalist, like without ever setting foot in a Hyatt property.
And I see a lot of comments going back and forth too, which I really appreciate as well. So we are, how are we doing there? We're coming up on time, but I want to hear.
We're done. Yeah.
Okay.
Almost done.
See if we have any more questions we can take too. Go ahead.
Here is just someone from Nadia who joined us less than a month ago. Probably kind of fine print. I'll just read this. For anyone in the village who's still on the fence about joining the Jagoot Lounge, all I can say is do it. I joined 3 weeks ago and I have a lot more to learn, but I just booked a hotel on a private island for 3 nights for our 20th anniversary and spent $0 using credit card points. The lounge has not opened my eyes to new possibilities and made me think big and look not just for good deals, but rather the amazing ones. The hotel we'll be staying at would have cost us $10,500 for 3 nights. So that's one of those redemption multipliers we're talking about. Don't piss away your points on iPads and gift cards. Save them for stuff like this.
Man, I did that one time, Joel, stuck in my craw. It has every because you just think that's, dollar for dollar. And that's the whole thing. Let me pop in 2 more questions.
Okay.
One is just a clarifier. So let me put this in there again for you. I'll let you read that. See if we're on the right page here.
So you have to apply for the card by 9/30, spend $15K on the card within 90 days, and you have until December 31st to accrue those stays to get the globalist status. Correct? Yes, that is one of several ways that you can do it. If you don't want to spend $15,000, you could spend only 3, but then you're going to have to stay 12 nights.
Right.
So that's the difference. If you don't want to spend 15 grand, spend 3, get your 30,000 points for free, and you have to stay 12 nights.
I know it's a lot. We're throwing a lot in there. So if I book 1 night, I get 2 free nights. If I book another 2 nights, I get 4 free nights. Am I hearing this right?
That's correct.
Love it. Okay.
We're getting a little down the rabbit hole, and this is why we have the lounge. You do this with 20,000 subscribers, and you have endless questions.
Yes.
We organize this into like a topic, which we have inside the lounge, and it's a lot fewer people. It's a lot more experts that we can give our time to, and we can answer all of these questions as necessary.
Exactly. So I wanted to throw those in there just to see you, so y'all could see too how it can get very interesting and very detailed. And that's what we dive into. Guess I need to ask, no, you do not need to ask Chase, Hyatt, or Sapphire. We are talking about the Chase Hyatt here today.
Correct. And that's a great question. Those are both Chase cards.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, for this example, the way you cut the required nights by half, if not 2/3, is by getting the Chase Hyatt card. The Sapphire card would not count. You can transfer the points. You can use those points for free nights, but you won't get the required number of nights cut in half. And that's kind of the secret weapon here. Is the Chase Hyatt card.
Chase points transfer to Hyatt. I just did that for your crazy hotel trip, which I love. And Amex can use your points, but this is about getting globalist status. Amex will not get you globalist status. That is correct. All right, listen, we have a lot of comments today. And thank you for everybody who tuned in. We really had a lively audience and a ton of people. So we had 202 comments. So I'm going to do the random number generator. Joel, let me hear some drum roll.
All right.
Okay, it is I'm going to show. Hold on. Let me see if I'll show you my screen. How you like that? Look at that. It is 123. Just so you know. So what we're going to do is count through the comments, and that way we'll be able to show you. We'll tell you who the lucky winner is. Again, that is for that $100 travel gift savings card.
All right.
That was a lot. Whew, I need a drink.
Well, let's just recap with that.
Yes.
Just to
That
make
was
sure
good.
everyone knows. The Hyatt card is the way to do it, you got to get that Hyatt card. I would not wait until September 30th because there is a chance you might have to call to straighten anything out and get approved. So I would recommend no later than September 25th, but I would just go now and do it. Check your credit, make sure you have a good credit score, and just go do it. And then without the card, it's basically 30 nights. We do have a class that there are some extra hoops you can jump through to make it only 20. That's a whole class in itself. I would say if you don't get the card, just plan on 30 nights. And then, that's basically all you have to do. So,
okay, one more question, and then I'm done. I mean it. What is the expiration date on staying the 12 nights to get the points?
Let's see. The expiration date on staying is, I'm pretty sure it's December 31st.
I think that's what we said earlier. Yes.
The rumor might have it because Hyatt's calendar runs through February 28th.
Book 12 nights. Yes,
but
that's right.
I'm pretty sure for this case, it's December 31st because that's when the double nights stop counting.
Yes. Okay. And Teresa, here's the link for the card, Jay Good. And I'm like, okay, we got to hang up so I can go actually apply for this card. I'm not kidding. That's literally going to happen right after we do this though. So that was a ton of great information, Joel.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Sorry we didn't get to everyone's questions. This is also why we have the lounge. We have a policy that no question goes unanswered in the lounge, but with 20,000 subscribers, it's hard to keep up. So
it is. It is absolutely.
But we do make sure that this is good, actionable stuff that you can go and apply. And if it works for you, we've got plenty more for you in the paid program.
And please make sure to subscribe to our newsletter. That's where you get the emails about the shows, right?
Yeah.
That's where I found out what we were talking about today.
Yeah. So if you're watching in the group, if you're watching on YouTube, just go to jgoodvillage.com. And that way you'll get email alerts of when we do these live streams.
Yes. And we do these this particular one with Joel and myself and sometimes some fun guests. We do that every Monday. So definitely just stay tuned and you'll see that pop up here in the village. That's it for this week. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a great week. Bye.